I thought this could be quite fun to look at. So everything I say leaks is something that Mark Zuckerberg said, and it obviously immediately leaked. I saw on Reddit, which is a pretty funny headline, to be honest. So in this, we're going to be looking at this article, which is only short, and then look at some of the things he actually said in this leaked memo. I thought we'd actually start at the beginning. This is what I found, and then sort of follow it through. So Meta CEO Zuckerberg complained about the company leaks. Yeah, we don't care too much about that. So the saga kicked off during Mark Zuckerberg's all-hand meeting with Meta employees on Thursday. It's currently Sunday, so this was a few days ago, where he vented about leaks exposing his private remarks to staff. Um, in an attempt to tighten control, HR made some changes. Questions that could be problematic if leaked were skipped. Okay, so employees can no longer see ranked questions, and the comments section was disabled for the live stream. So I'm guessing they've got like an internal live stream where everyone can ask Zuckerberg and the board whatever questions. So Zuckerberg addressed these changes directly. We tried to be really open, and then everything I say leaks. It sucks. Yeah, I get that. I get that. He added that this would now be less of a transparent due to the leaks. That he would be now less transparent due to leaks. I don't know. I mean, you can still be transparent if what you're saying isn't bad. I guess as long. I guess you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It sort of depends on what. But anyway. So ironically, those comments leaked almost immediately. Always pretty funny. Enter Chief Information Security Officer Guy Rosen. I don't know who that is. So that's the CIO, Security Officer. Let's have a look. Guy Rosen. What are all these pictures? Anyway, fair enough. Well, that's what he looks like. He basically declared that leakers would be terminated if identified. Nothing that some employees had been already fired for. I mean, that's fair enough. Some employees had already been fired for exfiltrating sensitive documents. In a memo obtained by The Verge, Rosen argued that leaks do more than compromise security. They demoralize teams and waste valuable time that should be spent advancing Meta's problems. Blah, blah, blah. You can see what happened next. Yes, this tough talking memo leaked almost immediately. So this is sort of our starting point. So this is the same company that banned Trump in 2021 after he allegedly incited the Capitol riot. Yeah, and they've been, wasn't he fined for that? Meta fined 20 mil by Trump. And I think he's probably by him. Meta to pay 20. I imagine that goes directly to Trump. So, MSN. Fair enough. The story's unavailable, apparently. Has it been censored? But yeah, you get the point. Zuckerberg had to pay Trump 25 million. Because Trump said, well, that's what I want. So anyway, so this continues on to here. This was linked. And this bit isn't as interesting, actually. This just basically says, I was just trying to look for the actual memo, which is here. So this is just saying that, we take it seriously, we're going to fire people, blah, blah. We don't care about that. Which gets us to this point. So Mark Zuckerberg, 2 employees in leaked all-hands meeting. Buckle up. Tensions were high inside Meta ahead of Mark Zuckerberg's first all-hands meeting of the year. Where are we? We are in January, aren't we? Well, February now. Honestly, I just forget. Employees submitted questions for the CEO touched on a couple of big themes. Concerns about his announcements that low performers would be let go on February 10th. Isn't this some... I'm pretty sure this has always been a thing. Am I completely crazy? I'm sure that... I don't know if any of you know Tech Lead. But back in the day, he made a video, I think, talking about this exact thing. Exposing that this just happens. Like, the bottom 10% or 20% will always get fired, which sort of sucks because, just because you're in the bottom doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. It just means relative to other people, you're a low performer. So yeah, that would be... Because it's all about, what does it mean? Because it's all going to be relative. You could still be... If everyone at Harvard, everyone at Facebook, Meta, whatever, was from, the top universities and they were great programmers and they would still get fired for being at the bottom. Pretty savage. Anyway, would be let me go on them. His MAGA-fueled changes to Meta's content moderation policies and DEI programs, and his comment about wanting more masculine energy in the workplace are the changes we're seeing, in any way influenced by the US. Thing is, right, he's just aligning with Trump, and they sort of have to. At this point, it's either about Trump, or I'm sure Trump will make life really difficult for you. And, you can say, okay, that sucks, but also, it's just a business. They're just a business. So with a lot of the rank and file clearly on edge, Zuckerberg made sure there would be few opportunities for drama during today's Q&A. So before it started, HR notified employees that we will skip questions that we expect might be unproductive if they leak. Fair enough. For the first time, the most upvoted employee questions were no longer ranked for everyone to see, and comments were disabled during the live stream. Yeah. I don't know what I think of that. Why have they not done that for the last few years and only suddenly starting to do that now? Like, what are they worried about leaking? But if it's sensitive, I mean, I do get the frustration, and ultimately it's a huge company, so things will get leaked anyway. Before jumping into the Q&A, Zuckerberg addressed the changes head on. We try to be really open, and everything I say leaks. It sucks. We're going to try to address all the main themes and topics, but for where we are now, there are just a bunch of things that I think are value destroying for me to talk about. So I'm not going to talk about those. So there will be some things Zuckerberg was comfortable addressing, fears about a return to office policy change. I just have not been focused on this at all. I think the status quo is fine. Carry on. The rationale behind ending some employees' perks, like free EV charging at the office when Meta is printing money. Part of the reason why we're doing well financially is because we're being disciplined on all costs. I think this whole return to work thing is mostly Musk. I don't know why he's so obsessed with that. I think he just likes... At the end of the day, if you're being productive, you shouldn't care. And obviously it's different, I can sort of sympathize with Musk in the sense that a lot of the jobs at Tesla, I guess, require you, or SpaceX require people to be in. So just because your job doesn't, if 80% of the workforce does require to be in, I can sort of see why you would want others in. But I don't know why he's trying to force this culture everywhere. It's just focus, stay in your own lane. So, clad in a gold chain and white long... This is ages ago, by the way. This was a while ago. So, clad in a gold chain and white long sleeve. Yeah, Zuckerberg, we all know, has stopped with his wearing the same t-shirt for 10 years. He's now all blinged up, wearing, $1 million watches and stuff. He's got his hair done. His decision to end Meta's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, I think the direction of the policy and regulatory and legal direction on a lot of this stuff, that you can't do things that advantage specific groups. Again, it's hard to know what his thoughts are on this, but this is clearly a requirement by the Trump administration. He noted that we're probably going to bring back unconscious bias training for employees, but it wouldn't just focus on a few groups or underrepresented types of people. Meta's head of HR then jumped in to say, we have zero tolerance for harassment or discrimination. Good. Pretty standard. As to why he overhauled Meta's content rules to allow for things like calling trans people mentally ill, Zuckerberg framed the decision this way. There were a bunch of policies that we implemented over time that sort of narrowed what people could say on our services. Frankly, we were just way out of the mainstream. When we say someone can say something on our services, it doesn't necessarily mean that we agree with that thing. It just means that we want a platform where people can discuss things. It's always difficult for me to have thoughts on this at the moment because it's clearly... I mean, you can say that's bad or whatever, but it's just, again, an alignment, and they're just a business. They just happen to be in the social media business, but this is clearly a requirement of Trump stuff. And money as well, right? So you have to pay all the content moderators, whereas just doing community notes is much cheaper. It requires no extra costs. You can get rid of all your content moderators for the most part, and the ones that you still need. He's moving to Texas. He said that in his little clip. which is gonna save a bunch of money. I feel like it's mostly always to do with money. And keep in mind, the reason he has to align with Trump, because Trump is going to protect these companies from the things they're worried about. Like, I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I can see their perspective of just aligning with Trump, and then Trump will hopefully make sure these companies don't get broken down. Like, so all I'm saying is I understand Zuckerberg's point of view, like why they're doing it. It's just a business decision. That's it. We just have this wide open field right now. So Zuckerberg kicked off the meeting, mostly reiterating his predictions on AI and smart glasses. I don't know anyone with smart glasses. I think they were clever though, because I think Apple sort of failed with this, whereas Facebook or Meta, God, why did they change? They were clever because they sort of went with designer glasses. So I feel like they were already going after a target market with money. Whereas, yeah, I think Apple I don't know if I'm right, but I'm like, that's it, Ray-Ban. And I'm pretty sure Apple they've sort of given up with that. Yeah, so, although I might be wrong. I always say I might be wrong. A lot of the big hit producers in their third generation reached 5 to 10 million units, Zuckerberg said. So I think one of the questions for us is, are we going to go from 1 million this year to 2 million, or are we going to go from 1 million to 5? Don't care about that. So while we didn't mention it during the meeting, Meta's planning to introduce a pricey pair of smart glasses with heads-up display, codenamed Hypernova. They aren't designed by Ray-Ban or its parent company. I didn't know. I've never heard of this parent company before. Elissa. I wonder what they own. Let's see. Sunglass Hut. Ray-Ban. Oakley. I think my glasses might be Oakley. I actually don't know. I'm quite new to wearing glasses. We basically invented the category, and our competitors haven't really shown up yet. Yeah, he's probably not wrong, but that's like they were focusing on that whilst everyone else was focusing on AI, and now Meta's behind on AI, which arguably is more important. They probably, because it's like if they'd focus more on AI, they might already have more productivity to get to their other goals quicker, if that makes sense. I think we'll probably be starting seeing some more of that maybe a bit later this year. Maybe next year. But we just have this wide open field right now. I feel like you keep saying, I swear I've read this sentence before. Glasses should take the opportunity. Okay, so this is now to the Q&A bit. If you're still here, this is probably the interesting bit. Maybe I should have started with that. So, working with the Trump administration, we now have an opportunity to have a productive partnership with the United States government, and we're going to take that. I think it's the right thing to do because there are several areas, even if we don't agree on everything, where we have common course of things that are going to make it so that we can serve our community better, and we can advance the interests of our country together. We're going to do those in a way we're not going to compromise on any of our principles or values. See, this bit isn't really true. You've already compromised on your principles or values, because otherwise you wouldn't have changed all of these different things. Sure, if that makes sense. Like, they've already changed their values, right? They've already changed a bunch of things that people would consider in this category. Now, I've explained why that's happening, but, it's still happening. The plan for Meta AI. The ChatGPT rival has around 700 million monthly users, and Zuckerberg believes it will get to 1 billion users this year. I've actually not used that. What is Meta AI? I've not heard of anyone using Meta AI. Is it because it's like integrated into their platform, which I feel like feels like cheating, Unless people are like, I don't have accounts. Is it just? I guess it's. They said it's a competitor. I guess it makes sense if you have a Facebook account. Let me know if it's any good. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll finally make an Instagram account. Um, let's see. Where were we? So we know from building a lot of stuff over the last 20 years that services can kind of come and go, but once something reaches that scale and has data flywheel, it generally can develop a pretty durable advantage. We have a bunch of work to make it more engaging this year. We're going to focus on a lot of personalization as one of the key themes around this. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Meta has this big advantage of being the biggest name in social media. So I see what you're saying. Let's have a critical mass. They can sort of make this product quite good. Although I don't know how many younger people. I mean, I've not been on Facebook for 10 years. I've never really had an Instagram. I think I've technically made an Instagram account before, but it wasn't. It was just sort of to look at things. And I have no idea what happened to that account. I think I lost that about 10 years ago as well. So competing with paid AI products like ChatGPT, I'm always looking for ways that we can convert the strength of our business model into delivering a high quality product to people. We have a model that's competitive with the best models out there, and we offer it for free. I don't know if it's true that it's competitive. I've not, but it might be. We're not charging $20 or $200 a month or whatever. Now I think there might be an opportunity to do even more. We can deliver even higher quality answers. But you can afford to do that because you make money off of the people, selling data, etc. But fair enough. So AI and social media, I think, keep in mind, by the way, all of this, these are just select questions. It's probably not that interesting because these are only the questions that he wasn't scared to get leaked. So these are all sort of filtered questions or answers, whatever. AI and social media. I think I'm actually surprised that Meta fell behind in AI because I feel like all of their systems, I feel like their platform naturally makes sense to develop AI. I think in the next few years, or like LLMs, I think in the next few years we're going to have all kinds of feed units that are way more interactive. Fair enough. I think this year we're going to have stuff where you have an AI agent in a video in your feed. But then you can just start talking back to it and steer it and ask all these interesting questions. It's like Clippy. We're going to come back to Clippy, but it's going to be an AI agent. Meta's efforts to build an AI engineer. We're actually going to cover that in another video because I thought it was interesting. Because obviously, I think just before the DeepSeek drama a couple of weeks ago, Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan talking about how all their mid-level engineers are going to be replaced by AI probably, or it's going to get to a level, I should say. I don't think he necessarily said that, but he said it's going to get to like a mid-engineer level. So, Meta's efforts to build an AI engineer, does that mean that we're not going to need engineers? Actually, the opposite. If an engineer can now do 100 times more work, I want a lot more engineers, right? I guess that we're going to be able to. It's an interesting point. Let's go back to that. I would guess that we're going to be able to train AIs to do a better job than a lot of the human reviewers. It's probably not the case. That kind of flip will happen until next year. Till next year. Even next year is sort of scary. If an engineer can now do 100 times more work, I want a lot more engineers. I get that, but it's sort of like that only makes sense when you have work to do. So actually, only if you have like an infinite number of work that you want doing, does that statement hold true. For example, like if you just had a product, whatever, some website, and you're already servicing the need, like, and don't get me wrong, I do know that they've always got stuff to work on, but yeah, I think this is only really true if you really do have like an infinite number of work, because initially you would need 100 times less engineers, right? So if you're now actually saying, oh, I actually want way more, then you need way more work to do. Anyway, I don't know if I articulated that pretty well, but I don't know necessarily how true this is. Especially when they're also talking about cutting the bottom 10%. Whenever I see someone else doing something, I'm like, come on. We should have been there, right? We have to make sure we're on it. Okay, so sorry, that was regarding DeepSeek. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you're fumbling. I don't know why you spent so... You're too early on the whole metaverse thing. And it might be cool at some point, but I really do think you you were working on the wrong thing, and I think you realize that. It's good for everyone else, though. I guess they've developed the space a bit. I'm pretty sure whatever happens, I'm very confident that Facebook and Instagram Reels are going to continue growing. Pardon me. Who's going to own TikTok at the end of the year? What's going to happen? That's a big deal. Well, Mr. Beast apparently. No, wasn't that a thing? Like I know he's rich as hell, but is he rich enough to buy TikTok? Wow. I wonder if that's sort of money raised though. I don't know how much. What is his actual net worth? Does anyone know? Mr. Beast net worth. Obviously you don't... Well, that's incorrect. I think he's definitely a billionaire. It's hard to know, to be honest. Who knows? But obviously you don't need 20 bit. Like, you know, if you're raising 20 billion to make a bid, it wouldn't just be you. Even Elon Musk, who's richest, like obviously the richest person on the planet, didn't buy Twitter with all of his own money. I think he raised it. His parting message to employees is going to be an intense year, so buckle up. We've got a lot to do. So that's it, really. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I kind of always try to say at the end, you know, I don't always perfectly articulate what I'm saying. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If I say anything wrong, just correct me in the comments.